Hey yo, what's up guys? Happy Monday. I'm back with another video, and in today's video it is going to be story time number 2, numero dos. If you guys still haven't seen the first story time video, it is down in my older videos, and in that video I basically just talk about how I met my biological mother and how I went into my biggest surgery that I ever had in my life so far. So yeah, that's basically what it's about. And in story time number 2, it's about when I woke up, what I went through in the hospital, and what I went through both physically and mentally. So, yeah, guys, let's get straight into the story. So, when I woke up from the surgery, it was pretty funny because I, like, straight up, I legitimately thought I was dead because, so I didn't know it at the time, but I was still on the surgery table. And I was like, I was straight laying on my back, and like the only thing I saw was this bright white light. Like, since I had so many drugs in my system and stuff like that, I was like, oh, how do I explain it? I was all sleepy and stuff like that, and all I wanted to do was sleep. But like when I woke up and I opened my eyes like a little bit, and the only thing I saw was just white light shining onto my face, and like I couldn't see anything else. Like nothing else was like processing around me. All I saw was the white light because I was just laying flat on the table. So at first, I honestly straight up thought I was dead because all I heard was like 5 different voices saying my name, like, "Hey, Julian, are you awake?" And I was just like, "Uh huh," and that was it. Cause like I didn't have energy to move my body or anything. I just wanted to fall asleep, and so I was just still. And like next thing you know, I heard was, "All right, so we're gonna transfer you into rolling bed," and I was just like, "Uh huh," and that's all I could do. And so they transferred me, and holy cow, did it hurt! Cause I was like laying on a blanket, and they had to carry my body with like I don't know how many different doctors, at least 4, and like to transfer me onto the bed, and that hurt. It hurt a lot because I was fresh out of surgery, and so after that they're like, so we're gonna roll you into your new room, and from there we're going to transfer you again onto your room bed. And I was just like, okay, and that was it. So I got to the room, they laid me down, and I'm pretty sure I'm not sure when I woke up from surgery. It must have been day or night. I really don't know. But all I know is that when I woke up, I had my aunt and my 2 parents there next to me, my 2 grandparents. And if you guys didn't know, I call my grandparents my parents because they are the ones that raised me. I'll get into that a little bit later down in the story. So, um, so I woke up and stuff like that, and I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but basically I couldn't eat for like 2 weeks. I'm not sure how long I was in the hospital recovering. At least I'm going to say at least a month recovering from the surgery, and I couldn't eat anything for about 2 weeks, and I was just on IV like medication the whole time, and that was so annoying. Only because like besides that I couldn't eat. Well, I wasn't hungry because I was on all these types of drugs and stuff like that, and it was so annoying because I they kept waking me up like whenever basically they had to take my vitals and stuff like that, and they had to draw blood almost every single night, and they had to change my IV in my arm. And I think from the whole visit, I ended up with like 14 IVs on one of my arms and 16 IVs in the other arm. Not all together, but I'm saying, like, okay, here's one IV, okay, we have to take it out, replace it with a new one, stuff like that. And it basically got to a point where my arms had so many, like, kind of like little puncture wounds from IVs that they were like, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this, like, little surgery, and we're going to place an IV into your main vein that goes up to your neck, and they were gonna start it off from my arm, and they started off from my arm, and it had to go. They like chose a specific vein, and that vein was going to lead up to my main vein up into my neck, and so they started off on like this part of the arm, and it had to go all the way up to my neck, and it was a pretty long process. I would say it took at least 3 hours because they kept messing up, and like while the IV was going in, there was like 3 doctors at least while they were trying to put the IV in because one had like this little ultrasound machine type of thing so that they could follow the IV as it was going through my arm, and they were just like following it with an ultrasound. The other person, was putting in the IV needle as it was going through and stuff like that. And the other person was in charge of like kind of like cleaning their supplies as they went, replacing their gloves if they needed to be changed and stuff like that, and kind of like moving the light around. So there was like, yeah, at least three doctors working on that. And it kind of got me annoyed because that IV, they literally only used it, I'm going to say, for about a week, and that was it. They only used it for a week. And then once I went home, I had that IV, and I had to like flush it every single day to make sure like it didn't get clogged up, even though it wasn't connected to anything at that point now that I was home. And it was kind of annoying when they put in that IV because they had to numb my arm at least twice. And if you have ever been like numbed, you know that hurts. Like, it stings. So that sucked. And from that experience, since I had so many IVs on my arm, I actually have this little like bruise that formed on my arm, on my hand, and I'm pretty sure you guys can see it. It's pretty clear to see. It's this little like purple dot right by my. You see that little purple dot right there by the vein? That it's like right there. That little purple dot was like one of the puncture wounds of the IV, of one of the IVs, that they had placed on my arm, and like ever since it never went away. And I thought it's pretty cool because it looks almost like a perfect little circle. I thought it was pretty cool. So I have that kind of as a reminder of my surgery. So when I got home, recovering was a pain because I couldn't do anything at all, and I was basically on bed rest for 24/7 basically. And what that means is basically you can't get out of the bed at all. At all, you can't get out of the bed. And it sucked. It really did suck. To be in bed for like at least a month. And then slowly but surely I was able to like get back on my wheelchair and roll around for a little bit and stuff like that. It took a while to recover. And yeah, that's basically it. How my recovery went from that surgery. So moving on. So as you guys saw in the thumbnail, I included an emoji of a graduation cap and a gaming controller. And basically, what I'm gonna get into next into this story is how that surgery kind of affected me mentally, and I'm gonna get right into that. So basically, after the surgery, I was really excited because I thought that I was finally going to have, excuse me, that mother-son relationship with my biological mother. But it turns out that she ended up leaving to one of the Carolinas. I forgot if it was either North or South Carolina. It was one of them. But she ended up moving to one of the Carolinas. And like she hadn't told me, and it really upset me. Like it hurt me really, really bad. Because like emotionally, I was like super excited. And for her not to be there at any of the points of like me waking up from surgery or her checking up on me after the surgery, like she was literally just there to sign the papers for the surgery, and that was it. She was gone again. And like that really upset me, and I kept blaming myself. um I kept like thinking it was my fault, that I was the reason for why she left basically. And that affected me a lot. And then once it came time for school, my freshman through junior year, like I had no hope for anything in school. I wouldn't do any of the work, nothing at all basically. And I was so used to that, oh, okay, well, don't do the work and fail and boom, that's it. And like I was so used to that it basically became a habit. And I kept getting into this, I call it the point of no return. And I'm pretty sure if you guys are a student and you guys have like been failing classes or stuff like that, like you kind of can relate to me. Like basically, excuse me, the point of no return is basically when you have not turned in like so many assignments that basically it really doesn't matter what you end up turning back in. It's barely even gonna count for any credit at all. Like once you start trying at the very last second to try to save your ass, and it doesn't work at all. Yeah, I've been there. Trust me. Um, and this sucked, and I got so used to that basically like again through my freshman through junior year, um, it got so bad basically because I wouldn't do anything at all. I wouldn't put that effort academically. I think that's the word. So it got to that point, and then it got to the point where my junior year, my counselor, she came up to me and she was like, "Well, you failed so many subjects that you're going to have to do a fifth year of high school." And at that point, excuse me, at that point, I was very like, at that point, I kind of didn't care, but at the same time, I did care, if that makes any sense. I was, um, I was like in the middle because I was so close to just giving up. And again, since I was so used to just giving up and not caring about anything at that point, I was just like, well, whatever, F this. I'd rather much drop out and start working or something like that. And there was so many things that kind of like changed my mindset, and one of them, believe it or not, so the reason for why I have that controller emoji is because I had this random friend that I met on Xbox through gaming, just a random person, random guy. I had only known him for a couple of weeks, and he was a really cool guy. And I remember like when I received that news, I was so mentally drained, and I was so tired of, there was so many factors. I was so tired of disappointing my parents. You know, kind of like coming home every day knowing that I didn't do anything at all in school, and once it came time for report cards or anything, like they basically didn't have words to say anymore. Like they literally just gave up on me. Like I had given up on myself at that time. Because it had gotten that bad. And I remember it got to one point where, so my biological father, excuse me, my biological father, he had dropped out of high school as well. Or he had dropped out of high school. Forget the as well. He was a high school dropout, and to this day, he still is a high school dropout. And he doesn't have a GED, he doesn't have his GED. He hasn't worked on getting that. And so they ended up telling me that if I wanted to graduate high school, I needed to do a fifth year of high school. And basically, I had ended up breaking down, but I was like talking to that one random guy through online video game, like while playing a video game. And like I was so mentally drained that I basically broke down crying, like, and I told him, I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm so tired of like disappointing my parents, and like I feel like crap, and like I just want to give up at this point. Like I'm super mentally drained of like, I don't know, I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I remember he told me, he's like, look dude, I'm a high school dropout, and I'll tell you, it is one of the worst mistakes you can ever make in life. And like he sat down and he gave me a like half an hour speech. And at the end, he's like, but no matter what I tell you, at the end of the day, it's your decision, and you decide on whether you drop out or not. And so, since my father was a high school dropout, and I remember every time, I would fail classes and stuff like that, my grandparents would always compare me to him, talking about, you were never gonna get anywhere in life, this and that, you're exactly like your father, you're gonna go exactly down the same route, yada yada yada. And that like angered me so much, and like I hated that they would always compare me to my father, always. And it got to a point where like I kind of like got really upset at both myself and like everybody else who doubted me or kept comparing me to my dad and stuff like that. And it got to a point where I got really upset, and my mind basically started clearing, and like I realized like there's nothing I could do. 3 years had passed, and no trace of my mother basically, and like it was basically time to give up on that like dream that I had of having that mother-son relationship with her. And so basically, after he talked to me and stuff like that, and I started connecting the pieces together. And since I was like really upset at myself and everybody who doubted me and stuff like that, I basically I was so mad and upset that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finish and I'm gonna show everybody else that I could do it and stuff like that. And yeah, I ended up finishing high school. I ended up finishing it, and actually it ended a couple months short because as COVID came around, and boom, we got out of school early in March. And during that time, when e-learning was happening, since everything was so new, excuse me, my my teachers kind of, they were leaving us work, but there was never any of like classes that you had to attend. It was just like, okay, here's this work. You have this amount of time. Let's say you have like a week to complete it, and that's how you earn your credit. You just did the work that they ended up, giving to you. And during that time, I was doing some of it and some of it not. But it was really weird because both the students and the teachers at that time were like really confused. And basically, it got to a point towards like when it was coming close to graduation month, which is in June, I believe. Um, I had no idea what was going on, and I remember I ended up emailing my counselor, and I was like, "Hey, so I haven't been told anything. Like, did I graduate, or like, what's going on? Do I have to go to summer school, or like, what's happening?" Basically, like I was so confused, and I remember like I had almost like an anxiety attack that day, and I remember it exactly like if it was yesterday. I was in my kitchen drinking my coffee. I had my phone in front of me, and my mom was mopping in the living room, and like we were talking about it, and she was like, "Well, did you graduate? Did you not?" And I was like, "I don't know." I emailed her, and like half an hour had gone by, and eventually she did email me, and I was like scared to open it. I was like, "Oh snap! Oh snap! Oh snap!" And basically, I ended up opening it, and she said, "Well, I just checked your profile, and everything checks out, and yeah, you graduated. You did it." And I remember the first thing I did was like I yelled. I was like, "Yes!" And my mom was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I did it. I graduated." And I was super happy. But I just wanted to add that gaming emoji because like there's so many good people out there, and so many like random people that can help you out. And like that guy, believe it or not, he helped me out a lot, and he ended up helping me make a decision of rather basically if I wanted to drop out or not. And I think gaming is really important to, I think, anybody who enjoys it, because one, you make awesome friends. Believe it or not, no matter how far away they are from you, you make awesome friendships from gaming. There's so many nice people out there. I know there's a bunch of like mean and toxic people, but if you find the right people, you can have a very good friendship with them. And to this day, I appreciate that guy so much. And recently, I messaged him a couple months ago. I haven't seen him online yet, but I see him here and there. I just don't want to really like message him because I see him playing certain video games and he's with other people and stuff like that. But I really do appreciate him, and I remember I ended up messaging him in the game, and I told him, I was like, "I did it. I graduated, man. I really want to appreciate you. I really want to take the time to say thank you. You helped me get through it." And he was like, "No, man, that was all you. I know you could do it." Like, he was super supportive. And yeah, guys, so that's why I added a graduation cap and um, the little gaming control emoji in the thumbnail, because that that random guy really did kind of like saved me from dropping out, believe it or not. And because everybody, honestly, they were like so tired of my BS of just like failing and failing and failing. Even after I kept saying, "Well, I'll try to do better, I'll try to do better," and I never did until the last minute. And that guy was basically the deciding factor of whether I drop out or not. And huge shout out to him. I don't think he subscribed. I don't even think he knows about my YouTube channel, but I'll end up eventually getting into contact with him. But yeah, I just want to say super thank you. Super thank you. That makes sense? I don't know. But shout out to you. You know who you are. And yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for story time. We hit 20 minutes. Wow, of me just talking. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed story time number 2. And with that, I will end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying the thumbnails that I recently started doing. This is barely going to be my second one. And with that, I end this video, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you see this video. And like always, guys, deuces, peace out, and YOLO. Deuces.